it feels like if it's a natural unfolding, then it's a natural unfolding. Your job is just to show up. So that's my point. It's like I do have to show up.
Yeah.
Not showing up, bad move. That just means like we're here to create, like all of us. So whatever that is, like it's got to flow through you. Otherwise, you're just stunting being a human being, and that's where things get real sticky.
Yeah.
Real bad, you know.
Hey everybody, welcome to Love, Loss, and Hallucinations. I am very excited about my guest today, none other than the legendary East Forest, aka Krishna. If you don't know his music, you should. Krishna is a multidisciplinary artist, musician, producer, filmmaker, and ceremony guide. He has been a pioneer on multiple fronts in these fields. He's released, I think, were you the first to release a 5-hour specific plant guided?
I mean, as far as I know, but I'm sure someone out there is like, might consider John Cage or something.
Okay.
Plant music, but no one said it was for that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. In 2019, he released the first ceremony specific album, 5 hours long, for plant medicine ceremonies. And I'm not talking like a playlist that someone like cobbles together. Like this is a specific album he put together for plant medicine ceremonies.
Recorded music.
Music. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not. Some people, it's amazing. Like, actually, I'm not trying to talk down, but I mean, if it wasn't my world, they're like in a playlist or an album. They're literally like, I don't know. I mean, what's the difference? It's just interchangeable words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and especially, the next generation, the kids today.
Yeah.
Let's see. And he's also been at the forefront of bringing ceremony concerts to larger audiences. We can hopefully talk some about that. And he has just put out a documentary called Music for Mushrooms as well that you should definitely check out there in the streaming sphere. So welcome, East Forest. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, if you said Krishna, and if people like just Google Krishna, I guarantee you won't find any of my work.
You might want to start with the East Forest.
Yeah,
and there's a reason for the Krishna name that we can touch on too a little later as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Google East Forest, and and I should say, just full disclosure here is I have worked with East Forest in the past with my label Bright Antenna Records. We put out a record together of his music that I just happen to have here. Look at that.
Yeah. So this conversation is completely corrupt. Yeah.
Completely corrupt and self-serving. The album is Music for the Deck of Titanic. Check that out too if you want.
Still, I think my greatest record to date. I like how it sounds.
It's got a nice diversity,
I like
great flow.
The diversity's cool.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
And the drums, I love drums.
The drums are awesome on it, and you do some great singing as well.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
So corrupt.
Well,
please,
we're gonna
more corrupt.
Okay, we're gonna slide out of that into like the themes of this podcast, talking about love, loss, and hallucinations. So I guess just first question, just a small question. If I say the word love, is there a story that first comes to mind for you around that word? And for you who can't see, those of you who can't see him, he's like rolling his head back, like about to explode, I think.
Jeez. Real questions. He's supposed to ask me, what was it like meeting Ram Dass? No, I'm kidding. Definitely kidding. I mean, I think the rolling of the head is that because there's so many, right? It's almost like it's everything. I'm like, wow, it's every story in a way. I mean, maybe I'll reframe it by just yesterday. I was thinking about, I heard this phrase about make your whole life about love. And it just, I think it's so true.
Yeah. Well, what does that, what does that even mean? What does that mean to you?
It means to me like perhaps the ultimate goal for each of us or humanity or this whole experiment of being a human is to achieve a kind of love and compassion, or really sensing that if all is one thing, then of course the only game in town is we're all helping each other go to the same place, to walk each other home, to essentially have brotherly, sisterly, to have human love. Well,
Right.
really all things. And so it means sort of like a sense of like ultimate compassion, or for me, it's like a sense of perspective, almost like. So any situation, even the ones, of course, that feel bad or sticky, even that being encapsulated
Mm.
in love. And
Trying to.
that's where that kind of feels like the edges of it. You know, that's where you can really kind of feel it and test it. Like, oh, there's a shift. I went from like aversion or hatred, or how can I hold a multitude of emotions at once, including love?
Yeah.
And that seems like the name of the game.
Yeah. Just always trying to find the love, even in those challenging emotional states that we all get to have when triggered or
Or
otherwise.
yeah, and I was like that you can't fall out of it.
Mm.
Like if it's this big bubble that we're this womb that we're in, you know, people come out of people kind of thing. Like you can never escape that. That's a
Yeah.
fact for all of us. We have a mother, and you can't not have a mother. So it's like we can't be outside the existence of love. Of perhaps that is what is. That is the thing that we cannot not be, and so it's falling into it.
Mm. And was there, just curious, was there a moment in time or an experience that like where you had this sort of deeper understanding or came to this deeper
I think
understanding?
many times, yeah.
Mm.
Psychedelics certainly. You know, I can think of a particular ketamine experience. That's where so I wrote a song on a record before that called Possible, called Can't Fall Out of Love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about this idea. And it was from a ketamine experience that was actually really challenging and really disturbing, difficult for me.
How
But
so?
somehow, because it was so powerful and that took me off guard, and it like took me places where, you know, when you're in like a journey and first there's the like acceptance that it's happening. Like you finally reach a point with, you're like, whoa, okay, it's on, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's like almost like these layers to it where and they're all like boundary conditions that you have to sort of let something go to cross, and there's sometimes a little fear, apprehension in that, but by doing, there's always like this expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was like going through multiple of these really, really quickly and thinking it was like Tuesday and I was just going to be like floating. It'd be all good. Like, I got this, whatever, ketamine, schmetamine, you know, I've been to the jungle, you know, whatever it is, you know?
Oh boy.
Yeah. Right. And I was just blasted so far. And then, you know, you're getting to the point of potentially making negotiations. I mean, you're way out,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and assuming I had probably 10,000 times too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a mistake, hands down a mistake.
Like you're in it and you're assuming like something has gone wrong.
Yeah.
And this
He gave
is not
me
where
like the dude put a shot in my arm and it was like, oh, he gave me like way too much on accident. Because it was so strong. Anyway, in all of that, you know, I did have to give into things.
Mm.
Kind of like, I don't even know, you know, existence or whether that's a death. You know, it's scary. And falling through those, and there's a recognition that you're always falling into that space of love, into that womb. You're held, in essence.
Mm.
Like if there's 50.1%, I don't know, good, and the other side is the not good, and that's what keeps the wheel of karma and incarnation happening. It's like thank God there's that 0.1%. Like that's grace. That means like, yeah, so you'll always be caught or you can't be lost kind of thing. So
Yeah. And I mean, it's so easy to get lost though in the day-to-day life. Is there any ways that you try to like stay connected to that idea and that feeling?
yeah, I mean, music's one of them.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I've been actually reminding myself lately the importance of just listening to music a lot, how it can really help my mood and sense of like expansiveness or remember, you know, just being
Mhm.
present.
Listening
being
versus
present.
creating it.
Well, both, but let's be honest. I mean, you listen more than you probably create.
Yeah.
So, and I can put it on in all these different ways,
Yeah.
you know, from walking around to just the house to the car. So that's a powerful way. Getting outside and walking around of nature of any kind is just being outside, outdoors, sunshine for me is huge. And then the way you love your partner or those closest to you, whether it's an animal or all of them, really. Like that's the crucible for the real work, and that's mostly about how can you bring more love to it? It's sometimes it's hard.
Yeah. Bring more love, be more present, not let those little triggers that inevitably happen, or catch yourself
But
quicker.
you know, that big picture stuff, I
Yeah.
think it helps. Like the more you really seeing, like even like a whole lifetime being amidst this sort of nexus of creation itself, it can obviously give perspective to the stuff that might be triggering you, because it's a part of you that's also being like, yeah, but I mean, we put it all down.
Yeah.
All of it. You know, all of it.
What do you mean by that? Put it all down, though.
It all turns to dust.
Ah, yeah.
Like it truly.
It all
everything.
gets released somehow as you
die.
Yep.
You don't take any of it with you.
Mm-hmm.
So amidst that, you know, you really get to choose. Hopefully, if you have a little more, you can bring that sense of perspective in. It can soften it or loosen the grip.
Yeah. Yeah. The impermanence of it all allows you to not take it so personally, seriously.
It doesn't change your compassion, say, for suffering or even your own suffering. I mean, like, you know, there's still horrible things happening that are worth leaning or speaking against, acting against. You know, action is needed in the world.
Yes.
That is the point of being alive too. Like, it's to make choices. We're here to have experiences. It's not like we can just forget it all and be like, well, whatever.
Yeah. And there's it just seems to be getting crazier every day. And yeah, how is that balance for you between, like, you know, holding that space of love and being like, you know, I'm sure both of us, we see things every day in the news that we're just like, what the hell? Like, how can we do something around this? And I can't just like sit down and accept this.
You're not meant to, I guess, accept's an interesting word, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have all the answers in that, other than like, it's kind of like, it's like seeing a show going by, you know, like, so it's like, it's all still happening. But again, it's that they're sitting in the seat of awareness, in that seat of the soul. At least a part of you is. Sometimes more, sometimes a lot less. And that, I think, is what allows, it's like kind of, I guess it's mindfulness, I suppose, would be another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
So you're not completely lost in the story. It doesn't mean that, like, the stories of rage and outrage, you know, don't exist and don't occur. They are. And all I can hope is that, like, we're all just really brave souls. Like, if we had the idea that we incarnated on purpose, out of choice, in this time, in this way, perhaps everything, that you have an important role to play or important choices to make. It's consequential, you know, and we're told the opposite. And so intuitively, I feel that the inner work we do really matters. And if anything, it's the fundamental essence of consciousness, which I suppose is very, like, self-centric, because, you know, 'cause that's my viewpoint, is my consciousness in the world. But I think we all have that same thing I'm feeling, right? And there's so many of us, and there's a real opportunity there, like, to reverberate through our actions and choices in the world. And so I often think, like, if you were God, so to speak, and you were going to create the stage for what consciousness will rest in, and all the things you get to do and can't do, and all the crazy things. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it? Of course it would be the craziest, widest. It would be, right? Like, you couldn't think of something crazier than all of this. Right. Like, the depth of it all, with humor and love and outrage and profanity. And so, I don't know. In some ways, it's like, well, yeah, you're going to go right to the edge, because that's the whole point, or that's your brave soul. So it's like you're going to find your edges. And the grist is the point.
And is in that the thought that, like, in a way, we chose to be here at this time for some reason, and it's kind of figuring out that reason and living in your best integrity around it.
Yeah, I don't think you have to figure it out even. Like, your believing it is not part of it being true. Like, it's true either way.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you want to be a participant in that way, that's open doorway for you. And it can make our experiences richer. And that may be a lot of, like, where the growth is, probably. But we're time rich. And it's just beliefs that I choose to hold, but I choose to hold them over my own experience and my life experiences. And it's just, but I recognize that those are choices too that I'm making, that worldview.
Yeah. I'm curious with, as you're talking about your own worldview and your choices, have you always been one who's been like looking within or, trying, I guess, a spiritual seeker?
When I was younger, like my household was not like bathed in inner work, really. I mean, great parents, but, an atheist and an agnostic. So it's sort of like this amorphous non-world. And I actually think that is something I'm reacting against. It's sort of like the roles we even play in our families and friends. And so it's like my parents are helping me, at least feels like that way, because I'm reacting against it as we do with parents.
Right.
And my sister is a big seeker too, but she's a big Christian. It's a very different avenue than me.
Yeah.
But her level of commitment, at least to her life and job and stuff, it's like, it seems like it's a lot for you.
That must make for some interesting family holidays. You got agnostic, atheist, Christian.
Yeah, nobody's talking about any of it. But,
it's all right.
Basically, I was always looking within, but in a pretty negative way, and that's still something that I carry. Like that's a huge part of my work and my karma is this inner dialogue that is a lot about worry and not a lot of joy, and that's directly related to my father's worldview. Very baby boomer, Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
GI Bill. You play by the rules. You cover your bases, insurance, all that kind of thing, and that's that. And you're part of that thing. And I always was rebelling against that.
Right.
And so it really wasn't until, I look back and I see like the things where I was like, oh, that's the same interest, but it was not manifesting fully, or it was like misguided into this. I was kind of a pain in the ass, as a kid, and still am. But when I was younger, I was more of like that smart ass, or I even had a nickname once. It was Tricky. And I think it's because I was kind of joking a lot. But a lot of times we push the limits in those jokes, and I've become better at that. But a little bit better. But so, psychedelics, man, psychedelics. It's like that's when it just like floodgates.
Yeah.
And all those other early interests kind of came to the fore in ways that hopefully it's becoming more supportive, which I think is normal for a lot of us as at certain points in our life as we get older.
Yeah. So did psychedelics help you evolve or change that negativity where you started from?
I'm going to say yes. Sure. And it's also, there's revealing, you're seeing these patterns, and then you get to choose, like, do I want to, I have to figure out ways to work with that. It's not just going to like poof, go away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel that's an important thing that a lot of people miss is like the psychedelics show you what you need to work on, but then it's still up to you to like put in the actual work after the fact. And
yeah, they show you things.
Yeah.
They're amplifiers. And there is most definitely like some kind of psychic surgery things. There's things going on in the unseen for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You don't get to like choose or know fully all that going on. You might see changes in your life, but it's hard for you to pinpoint exactly what did what. But I think it absolutely is working in the background. It works across time and space.
Yeah.
Psychedelics.
Can you give an example of that for yourself?
Well, I could say that like any lesson or discovery revelation that I felt I had or understanding in a particular journey, it's just as salient now in that moment. Like literally it's like the same moment. If I choose to leave that door open and sort of hold that like potentiality, like I don't even journey with mushrooms that much anymore, but I feel like they're this huge part of my life and a big teacher that I still feel energetically in conversation with, because I recognize that it's irrelevant, how long something is, or it's just all happening at once in a way.
Yeah. And like you had an experience on a journey and you thought it meant something at one time, and then it comes back to you later and you're like, oh, well, it also means that. And
yeah, it's like the same lesson is just still alive.
Yeah.
You just like remember it's
Yeah.
it's like it's still happening in this moment. I can remember certain images and like, powerful things that you've kind of gone through these layers that we were speaking to before to get these levels of acceptance, like peeling back an onion. And that's such a tender, special space. That's you have to allow yourself to fall into that in a sense. And so I don't know. There's a lot of work sometimes. It feels like to get to those places of like, oh, the aha.
Yeah.
so you want to like keep it with you too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There can take a lot of work. I hear that. I'm curious, like, as far as making your whole life about love, do you feel like there's any special challenges either in our culture or for our culture as men or for you as a man in doing that, in making your whole life about love and showing that?
Yeah, because I mean, right now we're in a place where masculinity's taken this interesting turn, and there's like a coup going on from a broliarchy. It's a very interesting space where it's like that's a big part of that, and its identity, even its actions, are like identifying with a kind of masculinity that then becomes very toxic, in that it's about control. And I feel that sense of wanting to control things deeply inside my inner life. And that's also like from my father. And this idea of like, if you can control and influence and decide all these different things, you're safer. And arguably you're not. But, so I think that's sort of inherently a masculine, potentially archetypical identity. And so I do think that can stand in the way, because love ultimately is about letting go.
Right.
Or accepting what is. What is the love. So in that sense, that is a bit of a polarity against, some identities with masculinity or what it means to be a man. It's more like cultural conflict, or, it's out of harmony in that regard. But what it is to be a man is not inherently problematic. It's needed.
Yeah.
And those qualities are needed. It's just they're not meant to dominate, the others.
Yeah, in the way that they have been and are at the moment. Like you said, it feels like there's this obviously a shift in the last 3 years or something. Actually, maybe since COVID, where it was like everything was, maybe it's a reaction against wokeism, if you want to call it that, or what have you. But and some very brilliant, divisive YouTubing and marketing on these people's parts that there's just not a lot of other options available, I feel, for especially younger men, even up to our age. So not really a question there. It's just like an observation.
What do you tell me more about that? What do you mean there aren't options for men?
Well, I just don't feel a lot of other alternatives have been presented in a good, attractive way, So, you know what I mean? Because like, say Andrew Tate or any of those other people you want to name are out there. They've been doing this YouTube thing, and just like it's an easy grasp. Like, oh, I can just be mean and domineering and not challenge myself to be a better, more empathetic human. Sure, I'll go for that. Whereas there's not the same level of healthy, not even healthy masculinity, but healthy humanism, like being presented.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's largely a technological problem, to be honest. Like, I don't think these sorts of memes or ideas would have disseminated as widely if it weren't for things like the YouTubes and smartphones and social media and all the things we're using to communicate, really, and spread information. And it's like a big part of the problem. obviously it's lots of great things about it, but we're just going like full steam ahead, and then you add in AI into the picture, and if that's a thing, AGI, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
If I have some questions or doubts about, like, do we have the electricity? Do we have the processing potential fast enough? Do we have what we'd actually need to do all that? Let's say we do, and the pace of innovation is happening, as it's said, like potentially 2 years, maybe a little more. That's nuts, dude. And how, I mean, you want to talk about the music business? We could talk a lot easily about what that I think it's going to do to our worlds, let alone the whole world.
The whole world. Yeah. I mean, it's a massive shift.
Politically, too.
In probably the fastest amount of time ever,
I know we're bouncing around, but dude,
Yeah.
you got to think about this. Here's an example of how important it is. Or Doge, if you really think about what they did, the firing and stuff was sort of irrelevant because they didn't fire that many people and they rehired a lot of them, and they didn't even seem to think about it. It's almost like the smoke screen. The very first thing, and maybe the only thing they did at all these places, was went straight to IT first and started downloading data from places like, into the Treasury,
Right.
and like how we pay. I mean,
It's insane.
crazy places we didn't even know existed. Social Security, and say, what is all that? It's obviously about getting a bunch of data out of closed systems, like the biggest data sets we have. And they've talked very clearly about wanting to do, I think it's Peter Thiel maybe talked about it. No, it's the other guy. This surveillance type operative, sort of social credit score, looking at China. Like, it's a way of keeping track of everything, having leverage on everybody, and everybody gets a rating, at least internally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just saying that's all to use with AI systems so they can analyze that and track it in real time. And that's showing you, like, that whole game, like maybe even tanking Tesla and everything. It's like, it's worth it to get that data.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's hugely valuable.
I mean, it's showing you that it's like the future. It's like, okay, they're going to use this. That's just a tip of the iceberg.
And it feels like, if we've lost some levels of innocence or connectedness in the past in a fast way versus because of social media or whatever, like we're going to be losing it way faster now with all of the AI. And
but wait, you said you're releasing this in several months. So by the time this comes out, people are like, you're not even talking about the aliens that landed. No, they're like, Doge, what?
Well, aliens, if you are here, we welcome you.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't think we have much choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I forgot. We can't be too current event here.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Well, it'll probably be about a month and a half or so, maybe 2 months from now. But I'm feeling all this will still be evolving and happening. But one more thing I wanted to talk about or touch on base with you about that involves sort of the love concept is currently your most recent album, Lovingly, which is another ceremony album. This one's 6+ hours long.
Yes.
And again, just curious about the title, really, and what inspired that.
Well, it's my third official guidance album, or whatever you want to think of it. It's like they're from ceremonies, so they're recorded in ceremonies. So all the songs are obviously there's people there and you're doing the ceremony, but they're improvised and recorded live. And so it's just very different than like that Titanic record. It's more of a studio record. I get to spend time on and revisit it.
Yeah.
Or have collaborators and stuff. So it came out of a journey again where you have to test these works. And so it's very time consuming because you have to be in some medicine spaces and so forth in different environments to listen to it. And it's so long that you have to do this in pieces.
Yeah.
And I had a real sense that should be the title. Because again, it was like that word being distilled down in a journey to like what's really going on, or what things are, or what is. I mean, it is lovingly in a sense. It's like a verb, what existence is, to be lovingly, or it maybe an adjective and verb. And I was originally working on a working title of Music's for Humans by a Human. but that was more like, this was more like just what it was. And so I sat with it for quite a long time. It was just sort of like, sometimes you give things a temp title and then you get so used to that, and then that's just what it is.
That's
and
just
so
what it
eventually
is.
I was like, I guess that's what it is.
What it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And I'm curious with the ceremony albums, is there any way you envision people listening to it or using it or that sort of thing out there in the world?
Well, I don't have any limits on that. I mean, I've heard about people using the music from the background for studying or for sleeping, or like Benji, stepson, a couple years ago, he said he heard music for mushrooms. This teacher is playing it in his art class, just didn't say what it was. He's like, I know this.
That's amazing.
So that's for kids.
Yeah.
A lot of kids like it.
Yeah. Well, and I've actually used it to write too. I think it's great, like just to have on and get the brain going in those ways.
But it has a design, sure. And if you choose to use it that way, I do think that's when it fully unlocks that design and the potentiality for it. Like, is it something you've journeyed to a piece of it or any of that too, in any form of medicine or breath work?
Journeyed to, music for mushrooms I have,
You should check out the new one. You should check out Lovingly. It's because let's see, that was 2018 when it was recorded. So it's a number of years of, hopefully development and wherever the things are at now. And there's a kind of relevancy there that feels valuable.
Yeah. Well, I certainly plan to.
Yeah, it's a bit more electronics in it too.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. After putting out a big project like that, whether it's that or like having gotten the movie out into the world, is there any sort of sense of loss that you have after a big project is finished?
Yeah, it's kind of depressing usually.
Yeah, how do you...
It's like you're building a boat and then you kick it off to sea, particularly with music. And then it's out there doing its thing and you don't really see it again. Or every now and then you get a message from people who like ran into your boat or something. And that's beautiful, but particularly as a solo artist, that's kind of lonely, and it's hard to not hard. It's not always fun, like promoting yourself, or especially these days. I have this real desire, I'm noticing, to be just more quiet or less platformy, and I've made a few moves in that direction, and I have a few more I want to make. But at the same time, I don't know if it's about like focusing my energy because of everything happening or the pace at what's happening. But truthfully, I also feel like there's something coming towards us, it's like a tidal wave in the distance that I can only hear, but I recognize it. And I feel it coming, and so there is this sense of like, well, what is exactly the thing I should be doing, or would
Do you mean to prepare for what's coming, or just to make the most time of what
so I'm not like distracted in the wrong thing. That's what I think my intuition is. Or it's like, don't waste, be conscious about what you do.
Right.
I mean, I think that's probably wise anytime, but
how's that coming along?
Well, it's a process of putting some things down. Like I'm wanting to put down Instagram and Facebook. I don't use them. I haven't used those feeds in many, many years, but they're still like things as an artist you have, and you have to like kind of service and figure out. But it sort of, as we were discussing tangentially, the role of technology in the happening that's happening. And I don't just think it's at all, again, inherently bad. It's in many ways completely required, and it seems, for something that is happening, but deeply problematic in how we choose to use it, like the consciousness of what we bring to it. And so I don't know if I want to be completely participatory in that in such a blind way, just for the sake of like gain or growing. This idea of like the growth idea, the economy of scale, is a big part of a problem we have, or a big lesson that we're going through of learning. And boy, are we in the thick of it, so we're fully entranced by it. I mean, someone like Trump is literally, I think he had the #1 show. So we're like, you are president. It's kind of like almost like that. It's this unconsciousness of like, we grew you, and so we appoint you, and that's one macro example of, and so I'm just feeling intuitively like it maybe is like just spinning wheels or something. So it's like put it down, and maybe something new can open
Yeah.
up.
Well, and because I've noticed on your feeds, because obviously I follow you, that yeah, you're basically like you put up clips of like podcasts and that sort of thing, servicing it sort of that way, but not really, showing up just on the fly, like, hey, here I am, that sort of thing. So is that kind of how you're trying to find that balance?
No, I mean like going dark.
Oh,
Like,
just
yeah, like turn it off.
yeah.
Yeah, like not participate.
Mm,
Yeah, and that's another. I haven't done that level,
yeah.
and
And what's
not participating in that game of scale.
yeah,
Even on Instagram, everything's quantified, and I think a lot of it is Instagram numbers and Spotify numbers are just quick ways that people evaluate your value.
definitely. Yeah. And I'm guessing it's got to be some fear or anxiety, I would think, like about there's like an attraction about going dark, but then like shit. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, I wouldn't be deleting it, so I am hedging my bets. I'd just be archiving everything and not being on it.
Yeah.
So there's a purpose to that because I totally see them as just pure advertising platforms. And for better or worse, as an independent musician, to get people to know about your show, Instagram meta ads are part of that picture of just I have to pay to
Right.
inform people.
Right.
It's as simple as that. Like we're all like in one community. I'm just letting you know this is even happening. And then you can decide, and that costs money. And so I'll probably still have to run ads, but that technically is not through having a feed or anything.
Right.
Because we ran a lot of ads for the movie, and so I kind of saw under the hood there a bit, and I was like, it's not a pretty picture, like meta ads.
And it's not like a
There just aren't many
user-friendly
alternatives.
platform either.
Oh my God. No, it's the most convoluted. It's so terrible how they build it.
I don't even
It's changing all the time.
Scrap and start over, please.
I wish.
Yeah. I'm wondering, besides like losing or having these social platforms lose you, as the case may be.
Yeah, whatever. Like they care. I'm sure they'll be devastated.
Yeah. Is there anything else currently in your life that you feel you need to lose right now? Or perhaps
Crushing question, man. Wow. Yeah, so many things. So many things. I guess if I had to sum it up, my intuition right now is saying it's about letting go into what is versus trying to plug everything into a plan. Because most of my stress is either the timeline of that plan or it not being the plan. So the more I could not have that stuff, theoretically, the more I'm just like appreciative for this thing, because it's like it sounds silly, but it's like everything's a gift.
Yeah.
And it's challenging. It's challenging not to have goals.
Yeah. Well, and it's exceedingly hard, I think, just from knowing you and knowing myself, like we're both like doer type people, and I've always been like goal setting and all that stuff to just like let go.
I know. So, I mean, I got tons of work to do there. I'm still a highly productive person, but I give myself some more leniency and notice, like, again, like when I have that perspective of we put it all down or it all goes to dust, then it's really like, so faster, more, whatever, is it really a thing? Like there's no end point. There's no destination.
Right.
There isn't.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's like, well, there's no point. You might be focused on this one brick you're building to put in the wall, but there's never ending bricks. So we get kind of lost in that way. At least I can. So I don't know. It's been a bit of a struggle though, because like the last couple months, like with music, I put out Lovingly, we put out the movie, and we're still Music for Mushrooms, the film, appreciate your support on that too, Tiffany.
Absolutely.
Like we're fully still like that's like a long game promotion situation, and I'm tired because I'm just like the pushing, and it just made me, after that show in New York on Valentine's Day and we got the record out, Loving the album, I kind of just was like, yeah, I'm gonna not rehearse and stuff for a minute, but then it just got longer and longer. And I was on one hand enjoying it, but on the other hand, just felt sort of like digging my heels in like a petulant child about like saying no. And then I started thinking all these crazy thoughts, like maybe this is it. Like I think it's it. It's over.
Wow.
Like I'm like, there's nothing left. Like I guess that's life. You know, you get older and it's just gone. You know, and like I can't write a song. And
well, it definitely sounds like it's a time for you to just chill. You know, and
well, no, it's what I'm trying to say.
No.
It's like I did, yeah. It's like you have to be creating, and what I gave up was like remembering back to like that first record with East Forest in 2008. Like the whole thing that was getting me excited was actually giving up my prior dreams in music, all things I was pushing that weren't working, and just making music that for me. Duh.
Yeah.
You know, and lo and behold, not only do you enjoy it, but it's interesting. And so, getting back in touch with like, well, look, it's important for me to record and make music, regardless if it's ever released.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, there's a lessons you just have to learn over and over again. I've been doing music, you know, for 25 years, 30 years maybe. And it's like, I still have to relearn these simple lessons.
Yeah. So is that like what it sounds like you might be saying, just remembering now that what you're giving up or needing to give up is the idea that you have to release everything versus just making
or
music.
like that I have to give a shit. Yeah. Like how it's released, or if the Instagram or the this or the that, or like, it's like, just put all that aside. Just like make noise, you know, and
is there any dream around that? Is there any dream around all that you had been doing that you need to give up?
Originally?
No.
Yeah,
like now.
sure.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I don't have to. It's not really probably helping that much.
Not serving you.
It's kind of counter to this notion of like people who are, you know, this whole sort of mainstream secret idea. It's like, or like envisioning the thing and attracting it towards, like this idea of you have a very clear vision in a sense. And what's the difference between that and a goal? You know? I don't know, maybe not much. But and I do have a variety of clear visions, but maybe it's just not really obsessing about them, or sort of like they come up and you're like, oh, you can feel it and accept it. And then just like, let it go, as opposed to like ruminating on it. It's like, well, I feel it. Thanks. But I'm here. It feels like if it's a natural unfolding, then it's a natural unfolding. Your job is just to show up. So that's my point. It's like, I do have to show up.
Yeah.
Not showing up, bad move. That just means like, we're here to create, like all of us. So whatever that is, like, it's got to flow through you. Otherwise you're just stunting being a human being. And that's where things get real sticky.
Yeah.
Real bad, you know.
Allowing it to flow through you and not judging yourself on whatever the outcome might be once it's out in the world, perhaps.
Yeah, the whole labor, not the fruits kind of thing.
Yeah,
like it's not relevant whether it's quote unquote good or whatever. It's just the fact that you sat down and did anything.
Yeah,
that's the gift. That's the beautiful gift you're giving over to the universe. That's the mana, the food that feeds all the grace that comes our way.
Yeah. And this is probably an obvious question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you feel it is age and or psychedelics that has allowed you this a little more lenient attitude towards the doing?
I'm sure it's both, but certainly time is time. Like it seems to be the great giver of most things. It's also, I mean, it's only my perspective, but from my life, it's just how it aligns with the happenings of the world. Of course, it seems consequential to me, but that's just my viewpoint. Like, it just sure feels different than other times from what you hear about, but who knows?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, this is true. Well, and speaking about times, like why do you feel like your movie is needed like in this time now?
Because the point of the movie, the aim, I should say, was to inspire
Mm,
people and inspire them emotionally, not just with a specific idea or argument. It's just to give you this inspiration through how you feel, to want to essentially engage in your own path, engage with the world, a recognition that that inner process of yours is the ground floor, hopefully, of something that needs to happen. And that moves out into the world. And so we worked hard to do things like see yourself in the film somewhere. I mean, you literally see yourself,
this
but
is true. I did not bring that up just for that point, but
or I was like, Scott,
a little different hair there, but yeah.
yeah, man. But in that way, people need inspiration these days. I do.
Yeah.
And it was going back to that thing about like, if I can play the music I want to really hear truly in that moment, you can trust that other people do too, because we're all humans. So same thing, like what kind of inspiration am I feeling I need too? And by making music or by making a film like that, that's the wonderful byproduct, is that you're really giving the gift to yourself as well. And you get a front row seat. So it's a very like sympathetic response, where the thing you do is feeding yourself, that helps you do the thing that you do, and so on and so
And
on.
helping yourself helps those around you, and hopefully it ripples out.
I mean, you hope.
You hope. Yeah, that is definitely the hope.
I think intention matters. So
Yeah.
we can't always control what happens after that, but I
Yeah.
think that's a big piece of it.
Is there any sort of like, I mean, I guess we're already saying it, but as far as a takeaway, once people see the film, anything you're hoping they leave with, besides, in addition to inspiration?
Yeah, you remember Inconvenient Truth, the gore movie?
Yeah.
And like at the end, I think it told you like change your light bulbs or something.
Yeah.
You know, which is totally crazy. I mean, sure, change your light bulbs. Like, so I didn't want to have like something too reductive in that way. I'm a musician, so like for me, it's about, you know, music itself doesn't like hit something exactly on a nail on the head. That's what's great about it. It's this open space. And the last shot of the film is just, it's not really a spoiler alert. Like I'm walking into the forest, and I wanted it to be, so I just disappear like into the forest. And I don't know, maybe there's something there about like death, or like how we all are part of. It's also a aspen forest, which those can be many thousands of years old and are interconnected in the ground into one glade. It's like one organism. And I thought it was an interesting metaphor for us.
Yeah. I love aspen forests for that exact reason, the interconnectedness. And yeah, it's incredible. And so speaking of the movie, I mean, part of the movie is, you know, you going on tour and doing these ceremony shows, and to quote the dictionary, a hallucination is a sensory perception that occurs in the absence of an actual external stimulus, or an unfounded or mistaken impression or notion. And, you know, as people watch the film, especially those who haven't done plant medicine, do you think there's a hallucination, quote unquote, that the general public has about plant medicine?
Certainly, because if you haven't had any experience with it, all you can do is conjure up things you do know that you think are going to be a simulation of that. But I can assure you that the psychedelic experience is simulatable. You can't put it in a box.
This is true.
So there's no label for it that's appropriate other than silence or art, and which is a Matthew Fox quote. So, yeah, sure. There's lots, but even like that's what I'm trying to say. Like any of us who have experience, it's no different in a way. It's because you can't sum that up. You can only dance around that mystery. that's why music's important, because we both have this interest in what music is and the role it plays in our lives. Beyond it being fun and cool and all the different varieties, it's some kind of alchemical tool or bridge or a translator to an unseen, to the unseen, to the numinous, to like all the things. I have a feeling that music in its form operates in all those dimensions, meaning its constituent parts are completely functional and malleable in all these different spaces. Here's an example. In the psychedelic space, when you're listening to some music sometimes, it becomes synesthetic where the music almost is the space you're in. It can be speaking to you as a language. It's the same music, but you're seeing perhaps color and it's understandings through that. It's wild stuff. And you come back into your consciousness after the journey fully. It's the same song, same tones. It's the same tool parts, okay, now being expressed. And you are perceiving it in a different way. It might have like a memory to that, and the feeling can conjure that. My point is like it's working in both of those spaces. It speaks the language of each of those spaces.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling intuitively it can, as these dimensional levels of consciousness go ad infinitum, just like the light spectrum or something, or the sound, that it's functioning in the same way or constituent parts in all these different spaces, but its ability to work in those spaces, like it has an inherent like fluency.
Definitely. And it just going back to the aspen trees, I think the other thing that you're kind of touching on also with the music is its ability to connect. It connects all of, like we're at a show and like we're all feeling it. We're all connected. We're all in that space together in sort of this grander universal experience.
Yeah, it definitely does. It may be, I've heard that that's why music sort of developed early in humans, like as we were just becoming humans. It's like because it helped bond us and connect us, like literally singing in groups or to each other, or ways of telling stories and myths. But it created cohesion socially. And so perhaps then that created this advantage in a sense. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely been with us since whenever we could beat a rock, probably, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we can sing.
Yeah.
And right, so and we communicate with sounds from the same voice box. So it's sort of it's a kind of music. It's just sounds that we turn into like ideas or concepts. Can you remind me if you play music? I played guitar.
I
right?
can play like 2 songs on the guitar, and I used to play saxophone, as I know you did. But I think we're probably about the same skill level there at this point. But
yeah, there's something I think cool about woodwinds or breath instruments. Like I like playing native flutes and stuff because it's about the breath, and the breath, like you naturally phrase because you run out of breath and you have to take a breath in. It's different than piano.
Yeah. Oh,
and something also very like immediate and sacred about like your breath makes the tone. I just think that's so cool. That's why singing's so cool and so unique to us. Like, it's like a snowflake, your voice, like super, the eyes and the voice are 2 things, total, like direct lines to the soul, to like center consciousness of all that is. Like, that's why we're mesmerized, I think, by singers.
Yeah. Well, I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
You referenced this earlier about just listening to music, and I just wanted to swing back to it quickly here at the end, just because I want to know and I'm interested. What are you listening to right now?
Well, again, by the time this comes out, this will have already happened.
Well, right now, but even if it will be different then.
Yeah. Well, I listen in different ways. I have a vinyl collections that we listen to, and then I have like more of the Spotify thing, and then I have the stuff I'm working on. And you're probably asking about like more casually. So the vinyls, what's cool about it is like you just have the vinyl, right?
Yeah.
So you just
kind
of
vibe you're feeling, and
you're always going through the same grouping in a way, and you usually listen to the whole record, and it's a little more of an intentional process because I can't then go walk around and stuff. So I have a lot of jazz stuff, some Keith Jarrett, among others. And then I have some like Americana, is that the right word? Like, like Neil Young, kind of dusty 70s. I have a fair amount of that stuff. And then Rada has a more broader modern collection as well, or just like a lot of classic. She used to do a lot of like DJing with vinyl. But I have to do my first DJ set. And so I've been like searching around on streaming platforms, like trying to discover new music. 'Cause I already have the stuff I like, but I'm like just trying to look to broaden that palette. So that's forcing me into like a lot of new territory. But I love listening to like Alice Coltrane or that spiritual jazz type stuff. I mean, I love listening to jazz, like especially like live straight ahead like trios like a Bill Evans or a Keith Jarrett's or but I like a lot of different stuff there.
If you got 3 Desert Island albums today, if you were stuck today on a desert island, what would they be?
Probably first ones that come to mind: Voodoo by D'Angelo, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, classic, and the Colne Concert by Keith Jarrett.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll put that in the show notes down there for people to check out.
Random 3.
I love it. It's a good variety too, because go through all sorts of emotional states.
Yeah, I might change. I made 2 that are kind of hip hoppy, so I should probably get some diversity in there. Maybe like a Bjork album.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Vespertine, maybe, or Debut or Post, something like that.
Yeah. Well, awesome. This has been great. I feel like we're just starting to scratch the surface here, and I'd love to have you back at some point once I got this thing off the ground and rolling in a more real way. Anything else you'd like to share? Thank you. Anything else you want to have? Anything else come to mind around, say, love loss or hallucinations before we go?
Well, it's an interesting trio of words you got there, thrown in hallucinations. So I just feel like as a people, what we're facing, even in the future, I'm safe to feel this prediction that it will get even harder, or more grist, more friction. Things will tighten in certain ways, and that's okay. And yeah, it sucks, and yeah, it's hard, and yeah, we can do it. Like, we're incredibly adaptable and malleable, and like that's kind of why I made the movie, is just so we can sing to each other and say, yes, we can do this. Even if it's like, I just need to be the reflector right now, and then I need someone else to say that to me, so that we can do what we need to do.
Yeah.
In this coming time. And I just think it's going to be even more intense. I know it. And so what we really need is people that can kind of get a bit more familiar with that feeling. And that's where all the different practices come into play, so to speak, that we can then stand on your 2 feet, your eyes wide open, your heart open, and not be completely in react mode or freaking out mode when the next thing happens. And then the next thing. And just for moments, just so we can take turns. We only need, like, as my buddy Court says, yeast is a small additive that makes the loaf rise. Like, we don't need all of us, but at a certain number of time, just a small additive, and we can take turns in that.
Yeah. Well,
3%, 4%,
Each of us taking our turn.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That would be, helpful, I think. We didn't really get to the Ram Dass Krishna explanation, but we'll get to that next time, perhaps. Is it? We don't know where you will be online by the time this comes out. So, what would be the best place for people to find you?
Well, it's eastforest.org, or just Google it. I mean, I will probably stay on things like my Patreon and YouTube.
All your stuff on the streaming services, Spotify, Apple,
music,
all the music.
And there's ways to interact, and of course tour. We're going to be playing some more dates starting in August, and then in the fall a bunch. So it's like very much wanting to see people in the real world.
Nice. Yeah, and certainly you have a newsletter sign up, I think, on your website. Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's always a great way to keep track of tours and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the movie's at musicformushrooms.com, but you'll see it on my site too. And we're very proud of it. And currently, that's the only place to see it at the moment. And you can kind of like rent it anytime you want. And
I would definitely
we
recommend
appreciate
checking that
everyone's
out.
support.
Yeah, 100%. And not just to see me with long hair, but it's a worthy viewing, insightful, and especially I think for anyone who's like is interested in psychedelics but is a little tentative about it. I think it's a good introduction to all of that, and allows people to feel a little more comfortable as they take that step.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have brought like their parents and stuff. Like, oh, this is the perfect thing for them, you know, or
Yeah.
people who are curious.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not there to convince. It's just sharing stories, and it's hopefully, and there's a story to it. There's a narrative, and it's 82 minutes. Like it moves, so
Yeah.
it's a good watch. Whether you're interested in the subject or not, it's worth seeing.
Yes, couldn't agree more. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for all of the art and music and creativity you're putting out into the world. We need it out here. So till next time, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Take care.